back in my geography class. Today we will continue with the chapter of agriculture of class 8. In our last video, we have discussed about the major crops that are grown all over the world, where we have discussed about the food crops, the fiber crops and the beverage crops. Today we will continue with the chapter and we will discuss with the topic of agricultural development. Now, what do you mean by agricultural development? It simply means to make the agricultural sector more efficient, effective and productive. Now, what do you mean by productive? It means to increase the production. Now, why there is a need to increase the production? Now, there is a need to increase production due to the growing demand of the population. Now, why the demand of the population is increasing? Because there is increase in population. There is increase in population, and thus with increase in population, the demand for the food grains also increase. Now, where there is demand, there should be supply. Now, for example, in a family, there are 3 members. 4 members extra were added in the family. Now, so total number of members become 7. Now, the quantity of food that was used to feed 3 members, will that quantity of food be sufficient to feed 7 members? No, we need to increase the food quantity so that it is sufficient to feed 7 members. Same happens here. As the population is increasing, that means the numbers are increasing. So with the increasing number, we also need to increase the production so that we can provide food to the increasing population. With increase in population, the demand for the product is increasing. Now we can say that the population is increasing, so the demand is also increasing. Now this demand need to be fulfilled. How it will be fulfilled? When there will be sufficient supply. Now sufficient supply will be only possible when there will be development of agriculture. How is this development possible? This is possible with the use of technology, with the use of HYB seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, etc. Well, we can say that the supply will increase when there will be development of agriculture. Now, let us know, what do you mean by agricultural development? What is agricultural development? Efforts made to increase the farm production to meet the growing demand of the increasing population is known as agricultural development. Now, why there is a need of agricultural development? Why? To increase the production, or we can say to increase the supply of food grains so that we can ensure food security. Now, what is food security? Food security means availability, accessibility, affordability of food to all the people at all times. Thus, we can also say that food security means when all the people has access and secured sufficient nutritious food at all times. This is referred as food security. So what is the need of agriculture development? We need agriculture development so that we can increase the production and we can ensure food security to all. Now let us know that how can we achieve the agricultural development. Now let us know how can we achieve agricultural development. Number one, we need to increase the cropped area. That means the area where cultivation is taking place. It is very important to increase the cropped area, then only the production will increase. Like if you talk about our country India, here we can see that the size of land holdings are quite small compared to the farmers in USA or in any other developed nation. So if we need to increase the production, we need to increase the land which is utilized for production. Number two is increasing the number of crops. That means we need to increase the number of crops. This means that in an agricultural year, we are not going to produce only one type of crop or more than one type of crop. We need to diversify our crops. We need to increase the variety of crops that can be grown in a particular land, and that is referred as multiple cropping. That means cultivating multiple types of crop, that is different types of crop in the same plot of land. What we can do next, we need to improve the irrigational facilities. That means we cannot depend on the monsoon rainfall. We need to search for alternative artificial irrigation facilities like tube wells, canals, which will help to increase the production, which will help to produce more from the same plot of land. Next, what we can do, we need to use the HYV seeds, that is high yielding variety seeds. We need to use chemical fertilizers, pesticides, so that the production can be increased. We are not going to depend on the manual fertilizers, manual pesticides. We cannot depend on the natural manures. We need to shift to HYV seeds, chemical fertilizers, pesticides, which will help to increase the production and it will make our country self-sufficient. What else we can do? Mechanization of agriculture. That means we need to use more technology. Primitive tools and techniques will not do. If we will depend on primitive methods, using primitive tools and techniques, then the production will never increase. We need to commercialize our agriculture. We need to use tractors, harvesters, and different machines which will help increasing the production. So these are the ways by which we can achieve agricultural development. Now let us talk about the agricultural development over different parts of the world. Agricultural development in different parts of the world. Here we're going to talk about the developing nations and the developed nations. Now, in developing nations, we will see that there is small size of land, whereas in developed nation, there is large size of land. Here in developing nation, we will see that there is large number of population. That means there is more pressure on land. Whereas here in developed nation, there is less population pressure because the population is low and the large size of lands are available to cultivate, whereas here in developing nation the size of the lands are quite small, whereas the population is large. Here in developing nation we will see that mostly people practice intensive farming. In developed nation it is commercial farming. So we can say that in developing nation the farming is done for own subsistence. That means to meet the needs of the farmer's family. Whereas in developed nation, profit making is the main aim. Developing nations are like India. Here we can see that this type of farming, that is intensive farming, is practiced. In terms of developed nation, which are the developed nation? USA, Canada, these are the developed nation. Now, to have a clear idea about the agricultural development in different parts of the world, that is in the developing nations and in the developed nations, let us talk about two case studies where we will know about a farm in India and a farm in USA. Now, let us talk about a farm in India. Munna Lal is a small farmer of a small village Adilabad in Gazipur district of Uttar Pradesh. He holds a land of around 1.5 hectares. In India, an average farm holding is about 1 to 1.5 hectares. So you can understand that how small is the size of the land holdings. The farmer do not reside in the farm. He resides in the nearby village. A typical farmer of India purchases high-yielding variety of seeds from the market every alternate years, and same for Munna Lal, he also purchases the high-yielding variety of seeds from the market every alternate year. The land here is fertile and he grows at least two crops in a year, which are normally the food crops such as wheat, rice and pulses. So we can say that here intensive type of farming is practiced where mainly the food crops are grown to meet the needs of the farmer's family. Munna Lal is illiterate, so he don't have any technological knowledge. If he faces any problem during farming, he takes advices from his friends and elders as well as government agricultural officers regarding farming practices. He takes a tractor on rent or uses his oxen for plowing his field, and there is a tube well in the nearby field which he takes on rent to irrigate his fields. Here, Munna Lal also has 2 buffaloes and 10 hens. He sells milk in the cooperative sectors located in the nearby town. He is also a member of the cooperative society which advises him for the type of the fodder for his animals along with the safety measures which he need to take to protect the health of the livestock. Here, if we talk about the laborers, mostly the members of the family help in the various farm activities. Coming to the capital investment, here Munna Lal takes credit from the bank or from the cooperative society to buy HYV seeds. He sells his produce in the local mandis or in the trading centers located nearby towns. Why? Because majority of the farmers in developing nations like India, they do not have good storage facilities. So they are forced to sell the produce even when the market is not favorable to them. But in recent years, the government has taken some steps to provide good storage facilities. So this is all about a farm in India. Now let us move ahead with a farm in USA. Now we are going to talk about Joe Horan, who is a farmer in the Midwest USA. In USA, if you're going to talk about the farm size, the average farm size is much larger than Indian farm. The average farm holding is about 250 hectares. Joe Horan, he holds 300 hectares of land. Here, the farmer generally resides in the farm, which is a large estate. Whereas in India, we have seen that the farmer Munna Lal, he do not reside in the farm. Rather, he resides in a village which is near to the farm. Here, mainly two or more than two types of crops are grown in a year. The crops of higher commercial value are mainly grown like corn, soybean, wheat, and cotton. So we can say that the type of farming that is practiced in USA is commercial type of farming where the main purpose is to earn profit. The crops are grown in the field after making sure that the soil and water resources meet the need of the crop. Farmers are literate, they do not depend upon advice of elders or any friends. Everything here is done with the use of technology. Soil samples are sent to a soil testing laboratory to check the fertility of the soil. Scientific fertilizer program is also undertaken. The farmer's computer is linked to the satellite, which gives him a precise picture of his field, which helps him to use chemical fertilizers and pesticides wherever they are required. Modern tools, tractors, seeds, drills, leveler, combine harvesters, threshers, all are used to perform various agricultural operations. Nothing is taken on rent. They have automated grain storage facilities where grains are stored or directly dispatched to the market agencies. So we can see that here in USA the farmers are working like a businessman. Now let us summarize the points of difference between a farm in India and a farm in USA. Now it's time for a quick summarization. Let us do a comparative study between a farm in India and a farm in USA. Let us talk about the size of the farmland. Here in India, the average size of the farm is around 1.5 hectares, which is 1 acre, which is quite small. But in USA, the size of the farm is about 250 hectares. That is the average size of the farm, which is 618 acres. So we can well understand that in India, the size of the farm is quite small compared to USA, where the average size of the farmland is about 250 hectares to 500 hectares. Now, coming to the farmers, here in India, the farmers reside away from the farm because the farm is not too big where they can construct their house and they can reside within the farm. Whereas in USA, the farmers reside within the farm. Now, let us talk about the capital investment. Here in Indian farming, we will see that most of the farmers are generally poor, so the capital investment is quite low. They mainly borrow money from banks and from money lenders, where the money lenders charge a very high interest. Whereas in USA, the capital investment is quite high, as in USA, all high end technology is used, which requires a lot of capital investment. In terms of labor, in India, most of the family members help in various agricultural activities. The production is mainly done for self usage, and hardly there is any surplus that is remaining which is sold in the market. Now, in terms of labor, in India, all the family members help in various agricultural activities. The production is mainly for self usage. So we can say that here the type of farming is intensive where the production is done for own needs and hardly there is any surplus. Whereas in USA, most of the work is done by machines, manual labor is quite scarce and therefore it is very expensive and the production is mainly to sell in the market. Talking about the methods of farming, here in India, the traditional methods of farming are used, and here use of machine is limited, whereas in USA, all the work is done with the help of machines. In fact, modern irrigation facilities are used so that it can increase the production. Here in India, we will see that land is intensively used, and at least two crops are grown in a year, which are mostly the food crops, whereas in USA more than two types of crops of higher commercial value is grown in a year. Now in India, after Green Revolution, use of high yielding variety seeds has increased, which has led to the development of agriculture and has increased agricultural production in India. But let me tell you, this is limited to only few states, whereas in USA, all the work is done following the scientific methods. Here, highly scientific methods of agriculture are used where soil is being tested frequently for its fertility, and it is also checked that whether the soil is best suitable for the cultivation of a particular type of crop that can be grown in that particular soil. Here in India, we will see that the farmers keep domestic animals like buffaloes, hen for milk, egg, and other dairy products, and dairy farming is developing. Whereas in USA, mixed farming is common. Animals are reared on dairy farm. Here, fodder crops are grown to feed the animals. Coming to the transport and storage facilities, here we will see that in India, farmers do not have developed transport and storage facilities. Thus, they are forced to sell their products in the local market at very low price. Whereas in USA, the farmers have well developed transportation and storage facilities, and the processed products are directly transferred to the store. So they are not forced to sell the production at a lower price. Rather, they sell the production at a very high price, and these are sold in the national and in the international market where there are great demand of this commercial crops. So this was a comparative study between a farm in India and a farm in USA. না দেখালে এখানে মুখে বলছি শুধু। Well, then we can understand the comparison between a farm in India and a farm in USA. We can understand that how a farmer in USA is working like a businessman, whereas in our country the farmers are poor, and most of the time we can see that they are committing suicide. Why? Because they are unable to produce more, they are unable to produce sufficient amount of production for their own family. Now in this video we have discussed about the agricultural development, where we get to know what is agricultural development, how can we achieve agricultural development. We also discussed the concept of food security in this video. And we also got an idea about the agricultural development in the developed and the developing nation from the case study where we discussed about a farm in India and a farm in USA. I hope all of you understood all the topics that we have covered in today's video. Still, if you have any problem, you can let me know by just a comment in the comment box given below. With this, we came to the end of the chapter. So this was the last topic of the chapter. If you like my video, don't forget to hit the like button and do subscribe my channel to watch more videos. Stay tuned. I will be back soon with a new chapter and a new video very soon. Till then, take care, stay safe and study well. Thank you.